Encaustic can be a little brittle on the corners, but luckily it is super repairable. This piece fell off the wall at a gallery, and I had the pleasure of telling the gallery owner, no worries, give me a weekend, I'll get it fixed. So let's get it fixed. I've already retaped the side of my panel so that it's nice and clean. I've also put some paper on the back so I don't get any work or dirt on the back of the piece since it's already ready to hang. And then I'm going to just put an extra piece of tape right here to build up this corner. I want it as high as the wax is. And this will give me some extra wax to kind of carve down once I'm ready to go. I've got some titanium white to build up this layer, and then I'm gonna need some blue and some gold, and then we'll get started. I've got some fun little tools here to help me smooth out that corner. I think these three are gonna be the most important ones. And you can see this corner's a little roughed up, and I am not sure it matters, but I have a feeling that having a rough surface rather than a smooth surface will help the wax adhere. And I want to use a really gentle heat source. So I'm gonna get an embossing gun. I really like these little Ranger Heat It craft tools. One, they're quiet, but also they don't blow a lot of air. And I don't necessarily want to use the torch on this because it's going to be too hot, I think, and my heat gun's just going to make a mess. So let's get started with this. So the first thing we're going to do is just lightly warm up the corner. And I put some tin foil down so I don't heat up the entire painting. Starting to get a little glistening. I think that's good. And I've got these little jaunting tools, and I think that might be a good opportunity. I also just have this little teeny metal eyedropper, which might be enough because it's so tiny. Let's stir up my titanium white here. We're gonna first start just by dropping in some white and building it up to the surface. I'm gonna go a little bit higher because then I can scrape down. Well, that was super easy, wasn't it? Because it's already hot, it's probably gonna be okay, but because it's a corner, I think I'm just gonna fuse it in really gently, just to kind of get it to settle into any nooks and crannies there. All right, we'll let that cool down a little bit, and then it looks to me like I use some cobalt blue. It's been a while since I did this painting. That seems a little dark. Not too far off though. Got some ultramarine. That doesn't look quite right either. Now there's a good chance it's this cobalt that I've had forever. So we'll just heat that up on the palette while we wait for this to cool. And then I know I used my fantastic gold pigment from Venice to blend that in, and then I believe I used oil stick on top. Probably more cobalt, so we'll have that at the ready. And if that's not the right color, could be ultramarine. So we'll need some gloves for that. So little piece of paper. Just see what those colors look like. Luckily, I think the gold's gonna mask any inconsistencies. That's pretty close, I think. Now, if I was super organized, maybe I would take notes. Yeah, it's definitely not the ultramarine. It's definitely the cobalt. That's good news. The ultramarine's just too purpley. So we got the cobalt stick for the edge. We got the gold pigment. How is that feeling? That's getting pretty close. Give it another minute. When it comes to repairing, I find that it's a lot of just sort of like small movements, back and forth, adding, taking away, adding, taking away. But what's nice is that it's, ooh, that's not good, but that can be repaired. Where's my heat gun? Luckily, we'll be putting a lot of this gold back on. Gold can hide a variety of sins, which is fantastic about it. I really love this rounded loop tool because it doesn't make sharp edges, and you can really fix a lot of sins. All right, so we're just gonna take off that blue comes off so easily. I'm wondering if it's not even wax. I think it might just be oil stick. I hate to bring too much back, but just gonna clear that down a little bit. All right, so let me take this tape off. You see why it's important to, it's pretty nice and cool. Let's take this, this shape is gonna work fine. And we're just gonna gently, small movements here, which is not really my forte, but we're going to make it our forte today. So it's getting pretty hard. It is cold in the garage today, thus the jacket and everything. All right, and we're just gonna take our little embossing tool and smooth it out just a hair. All right. That corner is already looking really nice. It's actually kind of looking better than the other corners now, but we shall smooth it out just a little bit more as soon as it cools down. All right, let's get some cobalt. Okay, that might work. Let's see. Perfect. This is some anthraquinone blue, which I think is blending in nicely. It's a little duller, but I think that's going to be fine because we're going to put the blue cobalt on top of it. What I want to do is just dull down this white so it's not so bright. All right, a little heat gun. I could probably use the torch, but I don't want to move things around too much. I don't love working in the garage in winter, but I will say it cools down the wax quickly. That is for sure. All right, so let's just take a little cobalt. I'm going to even a little over the gold there. And what I had done is I had done blue and then I did the gold and I did some blue on top because the gold got a little bright. And you're going to see when I put this gold on, this pigment is so intense. It can be a little much. So you can see how bright that is? Now, luckily for me, this wasn't the smoothest of all paintings, so it doesn't have to be super smooth, although that looks a little bit too rough. So maybe we will bring the little torchy out. Really soft flame. Like barely there. I do like how it makes it break up a little with the gold. Feels a little more organic. Right. It's already blending in nicely. And that smoothed it out. Oh, it's a little rough still there. Let's do a little bit more. You can see how fast the flame works compared to the heat gun. I'll let that set up, and really, it just needs a little more darkness. Like it still feels a little bright. It looks like maybe there's some umber in here too. Let's grab the umber. I do use a lot of umber in my work. And then maybe a little more blue on top. That's a little too much. I mean, that is getting there. what I really would like is just maybe, I like the way the gold is kind of striping through everywhere else. Oh, that's kind of nice. Now, except for this little teeny piece of white here, I think we're good. So let's just get some oil stick in there. And the blue. I mean, that looks pretty good. Let's take a closer look. Just have this little piece of white that's bothering me. Come here. Okay, maybe if we just smooth that. I'm gonna go back to the heat gun here. Let's give that just a minute. See, the white kind of came back, which I'm not loving, but I think I need to bring this down a little bit too. All right. That corner's looking a little bit better. It's just a weird little something. All right, I think once I darken that corner, I think we're good to go. So do a little umber, a little cobalt to kind of darken it. And then like I said, there's a lot of going back and forth. All right, maybe we leave that there and we just add a little touch gold on that end. I mean, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So now I just need to fuse in the gold. Let me just back that off just a little bit there. Smooth that out just a little bit there, but that looks good. So we're just gonna lightly fuse, just so the pigment settles into the wax. And then we just need to let the oil paint cure. And so it happens when you fuse with multiple layers. See how it opened up? But no more gold. We're just gonna put a little umber and call that a day. All right, and now we're just gonna let that umber cure in. You can't put any more gold pigment because it's just gonna keep opening up that piece of white, which I don't want. And then we'll just keep the umber going along the edge. I always like having kind of a dark edge. I just feel like it makes the center image pop. And if you have a lot of white layers, it's kind of nice to make them recede. All right, now this just has to sit for a couple of days till that oil paint cures. And we have a fixed painting that no one would ever know had been damaged. I hope this never happens to you, but if it does, just realize it is easy to fix.